All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down an expert analysis of a tool called Guru. It's an AI knowledge tool, and the big question is it really the answer engine your team has been waiting for? Let's dig in and find out.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll tackle the big problem Guru aims to fix, this idea of an information tax. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of its AI, check out its security chops, see how it compares to the big players, and finally, we'll wrap up with the final verdict.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about a problem that I bet feels super familiar if you work on any kind of fast-moving team. It's this hidden cost that just quietly eats away at your productivity, day in and day out.
And no, we're not talking about money here. We're talking about your time, your focus, you know what I mean. The information tax is that endless, soul-crushing hunt for the right answer. It's all that time your team just burns, digging through Slack, digging through old docs, trying to find that one little piece of info they need to just get their work done.
And this is where that tax gets really, really expensive. I mean, it's not just about being inefficient. It creates real risk for your projects. Think about it. A salesperson quotes the wrong price, or an engineer builds something based on an old spec doc. I mean, wow, the fallout from that can be massive. And that is the exact problem Guru says it can solve.
So, the big question is, how does Guru actually plan to get rid of this tax? Well, their answer isn't just, hey, let's build another wiki, or let's make a slightly better search bar. No, they're aiming for something totally different.
Okay, so the tech behind all this is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. Now, don't let the fancy name fool you. This is not some creative AI that's just going to invent answers. The best way to think about it is like a super smart, hyper-efficient librarian for your company. But here's the key. This librarian only reads from your company's own trusted, verified books.
So here's how it works in the real world. Someone on your team asks a question right where they are, maybe in Slack, maybe in their CRM, doesn't matter. The AI then goes and reads all your verified stuff, pulls together a straight answer, and then, and this part is absolutely crucial, it gives you a link right back to the original source document. That little link, that's everything. It's what builds trust and stops the AI from hallucinating or making things up, which, is a huge problem with other tools.
But wait a second. How do you even know the source material is trustworthy to begin with? That's a great question, and this is what the analysis calls Guru's secret weapon. See, you can assign an expert to every single piece of information. Then, Guru automatically pokes them on a regular schedule to review it and say, yep, this is still good. And just like that, you go from having a dusty old wiki to a living, breathing, trustworthy source of truth.
Okay, so I know for any business leader or IT person listening right now, the alarm bells are probably going off. The very next question is always about security. Can you really trust an AI tool with your company's crown jewels?
So let's break down what these certifications actually mean, because they're not just fancy logos. Something like SOC 2 Type 2, that isn't a one-and-done thing. It's an ongoing audit that proves their security is working day in and day out. And ISO 27001, that tells you they have a really mature, thought-out approach to security. The bottom line is, these are more than just badges. They are hard proof of a serious, enterprise-level commitment to keeping your data safe.
But this right here might be the most important security promise of all. It's a direct quote from their policy. Your data is not a training set. What does that mean? It means they are promising point blank that they will not use your company's private information to train their big global AI models. Your data stays in your little sandbox, completely separate from everyone else. And in the world of AI today, that is a massive, massive deal.
All right, so the market for these tools is, well, it's crowded. You've got giants like Notion and Confluence, so where does Guru even fit in? The expert review actually has a really great way of breaking this down. Let's dive into the key comparisons.
Yeah, this table really lays it all out. You can see how Guru has very deliberately not tried to be another Notion or another Confluence. Notion is all about being a flexible workspace. Confluence is the king of technical docs. But Guru? It's positioned itself as something totally new, a dedicated, verifiable answer engine. And that key difference, that automated verification we talked about, that's what makes its source of truth actually trustworthy and alive, not static.
When you put Guru up against Notion, it really boils down to this: structure versus flexibility. The review calls Notion a flexible sandbox, which is perfect. It's amazing for creative brainstorming, for just getting ideas down. But the danger is it can turn into a giant, disorganized knowledge junk drawer. Guru is the opposite. It's all about structure, all about verification and trust. That makes it a much safer bet for the kind of information you absolutely cannot get wrong.
In the matchup with Confluence, it's just as clear-cut. Look, Confluence is a beast. It's super powerful, especially for dev teams, but we've all seen it happen. The content gets old, it gets stale, and finding what you need feels impossible. That's why the review calls it a documentation graveyard. It's where knowledge goes to die. Guru, on the other hand, isn't built just to store knowledge. It's designed to push it to the surface and actively keep it alive and trustworthy.
Okay, so we've looked at the tech, the security, and where it fits in the market. After all that, what's the final verdict from the experts? Let's get right to it.
So, after looking at everything, from security protocols to just how easy it is to use, the review from Best AI Project Hub gives it a really impressive score, a solid 9 out of 10. And that is a very strong score. It really shows how well the experts think it nails the specific problem it sets out to solve.
But look, a high score doesn't mean it's the right tool for everybody, and the review is super clear about this. The sweet spot for Guru is those established, mid-sized to large companies. It's an absolute game changer for departments like customer support, sales, or operations. You know, teams where getting the right answer quickly is everything, especially if you're in an industry where accuracy isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a flat-out requirement.
On the flip side, who is this not for? Well, if you're a freelancer or a one-person shop, this is just way too much tool for you. It's overkill. And if your team really just needs that free-form, creative space to throw ideas around, you're probably better off with something like Notion. And here's the big one. If your company culture isn't actually ready to commit to managing knowledge, you're just not going to get your money's worth, period. And that brings us to the final recommendation, which I think is really insightful. The review says you shouldn't look at Guru as just another software expense, another line item on a spreadsheet. You should see it as a strategic investment. It's an investment you make to solve those really expensive problems, the wasted time, the costly mistakes, all the risk that comes from people acting on bad information.
So this all leaves us with one last really important question you should ask your own team. Think about your company's most valuable asset, all that collective knowledge and experience. Is it just buried somewhere, stuck in a documentation graveyard where it's hard to find and nobody trusts it? Or is it an active living engine that's actually powering your team forward every single day? I think the answer to that question tells you everything you need to know.